Inspiring everybody. Up next, we have Dr. Heather Price. She is a climate scientist and educator, here to introduce the science behind climate change and fossil fuels, and what we can do for a sustainable future. Here is Dr. Heather Price.
Thank you for that introduction. So, in addition to being a scientist, I'm also a mom to a couple of the kids that are out there striking with you. So, some people say that you kids should be in school today, and that this is child abuse letting you be here. I say, leaving you a world mired in mass extinction, ocean acidification, sea level rise, and an ever-heating planet that is already exacerbating drought, desertification, flooding, disease, and creating climate refugees. That's child abuse, and it's on a generational scale. These things are going to get worse the longer that we wait to act. You are already living with the failures of your parents and your grandparents' generations. We have failed you because we've, as a generation, have ignored the scientists' warnings. Every year of your young lives has been hotter than average. You've never lived on Earth during a colder than average year. In fact, every year of my life, except for one, when I was a toddler back in the 70s, has been hotter than the 21st century average. All of this heating, it's from us. It's from humans burning coal, oil, natural gas, and from animal agriculture, especially beef. Let's put our emissions into perspective with something that we Washingtonians all know, and that's volcanoes. We're surrounded by active volcanoes all around us. Mount Rainier, Baker, Mount St. Helens. I got to watch Mount St. Helens erupt from my front porch, and it was spectacular. Quite a sight to see. And it made headlines across the whole globe. So if you think of climate change in terms of volcanoes, our human emissions are equivalent to 4,500 Mount St. Helens going off every year. That's 12 eruptions every day, or one eruption every other hour, somewhere on our planet, all year long, every year. Imagine the news reports. If we could see those eruptions going off, it would be a national emergency, a global emergency. This is a crisis. Desert regions are already growing. Ice sheets and glaciers are already melting. Insect-borne tick and mosquito-borne diseases, they're expanding in range already. We are already starting to destabilize the climate, and we're arming it with ammunition in the form of fossil fuel emissions. One of the most potent forms of climate-changing ammunition is natural gas. Tote in Tacoma is actively building an LNG plant, which is a liquefied natural gas plant, because they mistakenly think that it's cleaner for climate. Atmospheric chemistry research shows that natural gas is actually worse for climate than coal or oil. And here's why. A little bit of chemistry. Natural gas is mostly methane, which is a super strong greenhouse gas. It's 86 times more potent than carbon dioxide for the first 20 years. And that's also the time frame that we scientists say we have to solve this and get on the right track. And then after 20 years, that methane, it turns into CO2, and then that persists for centuries, warming our planet and acidifying our oceans. And when we use natural gas, that gas, it doesn't stay in the pipe or it doesn't all get burned. It leaks. And any leak rate that's over 2.7% means that natural gas is worse than coal. The latest research shows that we're well above that 2.7% threshold. We're actually closer to 4%. This means that we need to keep all the fossil fuels in the ground, and we can. We already have all the tools and all the technology that we need to solve this today and to transition to renewables. Solar prices have dropped so much that today it's cost competitive to put in a solar plant for electricity instead of a new fossil fuel plant. Yes. When the first Star Wars movie came out back in 1977, solar cost $77 to install per watt. It was expensive, but today the price of solar is only 10 to 20 cents per watt to install. And we have some of the greenest, lowest emission electricity in the world right here in Washington State. We need to help people use it and transition off of natural gas and oil for our homes, our buildings, and our transportation. Making the right decision to get off natural gas and oil and coal should not depend on a person's income. My parents' hot water heater, go ahead. So my parents' hot water heater broke last month, and they are dependent on living on Social Security. They don't have a 401k. They can't afford to buy an electric heat pump hot water heater. And that's one of the benefits of the Green New Deal. It will help people on low and fixed incomes transition off natural gas to green electricity. And those of you who are in families with the means, with the money to be able to transition to electric now, please do it. Make your next car, if you have to have a car, electric. Make your next stove an induction stove. Make that next heater or air conditioner a heat pump. Your parents and my parents' generations, we need to stop stealing your future. We adults need to heed your cries for action and vote to protect your future. We need to tell our elected officials to pass legislation like the Green New Deal. So all Americans, not just those who can afford it, all Americans can transition to cleaner energy and leave a stable climate for you. You, our children. Thank you.